We will now begin taking questions. Anyone with a question? Please remember to introduce yourself and the media house.
I work with the KT Press. So it seems a startling thing to say, but all things considered, the crisis in the Democratic Republic of Congo could be ended in a mere matter of days if everybody else were to acknowledge the real causes of the conflict openly. But instead, people seem to be intent on focusing on claims from the UN group of expert reports. There is the recent statement from President Lorenco, for instance, on the M23 rebel alliance entry into Masisi. Seems to go on a supposed threat to territorial integrity of the DRC instead of the real causes of the conflict. So one wonders, Your Excellency, beyond signing more agreements that a lot of the signatories tend to promptly ignore, can Your Excellency envisage anything else that can be done to bring everybody around the real causes of the conflict and focus on that and get beyond the impasse and the obvious impediments to peace? Thank you very much indeed.
Much as I said, I didn't have much to say as I was prompted by the moderator. First of all, welcome you, and once again wish you a happy New Year. Hope the New Year will bring blessings to all of us. I think we had time to talk about the last year. The last year ended well, and now in the new year. As a country, as a people of this country, and our partners, and serve, we hope we can continue the good progress we made last year, and do even more, including probably realizing peace in our region. Looking forward to that. So that is the starting point of my answer to your question. This problem of Eastern Congo, which I have in the past even explained as not just Eastern Congo problem, but Congo's problem as a whole, and problem for our region, the problem for our continent and the rest of the world. Every time it is referred to as Eastern Congo problem, in a way, rightly so, because it's centered there. But the cause of it, and the many factors that perpetuate that problem, are from different parts of the world, including from the big countries, as we know, the powerful countries, as we know. In fact, that problem has roots in the history of that country, history of our region, and the history of our continent, relating to the early days of colonial time. That's why many times I'm surprised. Let me go straight now to the issue. Where is it? Talking about, say, sovereignty, territorial integrity. As you said in the statement from Angola, how do these matters arise here in this sense? M23, these are Congolese. Even to the admission of Congo's leaders, the past and the present, now, why are they fighting? Why do we have over 100,000 refugees here in Rwanda, originating from that region? Why do we have refugees? Is it because Rwanda wants refugees and attracted them from Congo to come to Rwanda? I'll say the first question, M23, why would they be fighting? Just like fighting? So, in the fighting that is happening in Eastern Congo, and you call that violation of sovereignty, territorial integrity, how does it arise? So, and on one hand, these are Congolese, on the other hand, they are foreigners. So how do they combine these two identities? How do they happen to be Congolese on one hand, and then they are foreigners who have invaded Congo and therefore preaching everything about sovereignty and territorial integrity? Maybe they mean something else. Let me also try to explain that. Those who make such a statement. I would remind you here, I know you know, people play like they're ignorant about things, yet they are supposed to be experts of that. This fighting that is happening in Eastern Congo, that has been going on for these last years, I mean, here in this room, people don't know how that started, where it originated from. These groups fighting in Congo, the fighting that was started 2 more years ago, these people fighting did not come from Luanda as of the time the war started, or they started fighting. Maybe they, I even don't know whether it qualifies as such. These people did not, they are of Rwandese background, I don't know whether it would even be right to say they originated from Rwanda. Most of them, Congo found them where they are, or where they were. It's not that there was a movement from Rwanda. Maybe some might have originated from Rwanda by this movement from Rwanda to that part, long ago. Even either before I was born or when I was a kid. So, but what I meant that Congo found these people there has to do with this history I'm talking about, of colonial times and the drawing of colonial borders. But that's why also the Congolese leaders at one point admitted that these are Congolese, and then try to find another reason and say, oh, but the fighting is supported by Rwanda. But they can't tell anybody and convince anybody that actual people who are fighting now, who started this fighting they're talking about, came from Rwanda. They did not come from Rwanda. These leaders of M23 and the majority of their fighters came from Uganda, where they had been as refugees who ran away from, or as a result of solving the problem of 2012, 2013, when these people moved to Uganda and others came here. I remember for specific number, those who came here were between 500 and 600, whom we disarmed and gave back arms to the government of DRC at the time, and had been kept here for a long time until some when things like as they kept changing, the government of DRC used to send even their officials to come and speak to people here, where we had held them in camps, to speak to them purportedly to resolve their problems. It went on back and forth for a long time. The problems were never resolved. But these are not the ones who started the fighting. And if you want to see where these people, most of them are still here. The fighting was started by the main group that was from Uganda. So how did it become Rwanda's problem? Honestly. What is the basis? And for how long do we explain this? Up to what point? These people, the ones who lead this, and then the other hundreds of groups fighting in Eastern Congo, have nothing to do with Rwanda. The only reason Rwanda comes into question now for this is for a couple of reasons. One, these are Rwandophones speaking in Rwanda. But that is also what maybe became their main crime in Congo. So if they speak in Rwanda, that has turned into reasons for persecution. And that's why we have refugees here for over 2 decades. The other reason is the Fdlr that has been these genociders who have been in Congo for the last 30 years, whom the international community have really entertained. I think they have deliberately preserved it. I don't know for what. Whether it is a gift of thanks to them for having committed genocide here, or preserved them because they are anti-Rwanda and the government, and therefore they would use them as and whenever that is possible against Rwanda, to control Rwanda, to manage it the way they want. Otherwise, tell me. Part of the reason is MONUSCO, the civilian force, is in Eastern Congo, in the DRC, was actually to address this problem of Fdlr that kept changing names over time. But after 30 years, if you ask the UN and say, what happened? If you really ask them what they've been doing for the last 30 years, they've been there, and tens of billions of dollars they have spent on it. What is there to show for that effort that was made? Only to end up blaming Rwanda for everything that is happening in Eastern Congo, or really in Congo, because even the problems of Congo are blamed on Rwanda by these so-called international community members, and together and in support of the DRC government. If the DRC government is not encouraged to take its own responsibility for its people and its country, and everybody joins them to blame others for their problems, how do you expect Congo to actually address these problems that affect all of us? How? So the statement you referred to, therefore, is part of this, I don't know what to call it, honestly. But it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up for any solution to the problems at hand that we need to address. I don't see how. Well, I imagine a scenario where if we didn't have Rwanda at all, or if we could relocate Rwanda to another part of the world and remove it from here, would that solve the problems of Congo or of the region? Yeah. So, and people get lost in the blame game, this, that, and forget to really address the root causes of the problems you have and find a solution. And then you have geopolitics being played into all this. Then you have the blame of colonial times being managed somehow, because those who were involved in the colonial times and who are blamed for it have the power to manipulate. And always fall short of doing what is right. You find they have groups they create, they say groups of experts how do you expert in doing what? Then you find the groups of experts. These experts are led by people who are supposed to come and really cover up the blame that should be leveled against those who are responsible for those literally crimes of that past or colonial past. And they've been here in Eastern Congo or in Congo, groups of experts. What expertise? Expertise to come and tell lies? You know, these groups, the people waking up, these experts, you know, in broad daylight, killings, persecution, all kinds of stuff are done by people they see, government leaders, commanders, people belonging to the police, the army, in broad daylight lynching people. This one is kept quiet about. And then these experts write the whole, they pile up crimes committed by M23. They talk about seeing somewhere in the background in villages, and they don't talk about these things that were done in towns in broad daylight before their eyes. Then they talk about, you know, M23 violating human rights and so on and so forth. And then Rwanda behind supporting them, and Rwanda is supposed to be there stealing minerals of Congo. So the whole thing is shifted from what the problem really is to some other imaginary problem they have created. And they really make people believe that. But honestly, for the last 30 years, if anybody wanted to understand what the problems are and what the solutions should be, you don't even need to be an expert. You just need to be wanting to resolve these problems and allowing people to have peace. So when you ask me what next do I think, what I think should happen is what I have thought from the beginning and have spoken out very loudly to whoever needed to listen. This problem is not insurmountable. It can be addressed. It can end. It should have ended in actual fact long ago. But you can't end it by manipulation. You can't end it by playing games. So one, as if there exists in that situation or not. Do people understand the history of Fdlr or not? So why should Fdlr be an issue even for discussion? Or why should it be a big problem that can't be resolved? We told these people, whoever was involved, that you can, we started with DRC itself, even before the current administration, DRC. We used to approach these people. We even approached the current administration. We say, let's work together to resolve this problem, and that we will support you with whatever you think you need, and we will avail ourselves and our resources to actually help you fight this Fdlr and eliminate it from. And they refused. I had even given them advice that, you see, Uganda has a problem of ADF and others based in Congo. We have a problem of Fdlr based in Congo. Burundi also says they have a problem based in Congo. I said, why can't we, all of us, work together? Uganda works with the DRC, Rwanda works with the DRC, Burundi works with the DRC, to eliminate the threat to security along our borders. I suggested to them, to the current administration, in 2019. Now, what they did, they allowed Uganda to go and send in their troops to go and fight the ADF. They allowed Burundi to quietly go into the DRC to fight whichever their groups they are fighting are. When it comes to Rwanda, they refused. Of course, that means something. They refused because either on their own or on advice by whoever, they actually didn't want this problem of Fdlr addressed. This was way before this M23 problem flared up. And as I mentioned to you, is the main bulk, like the others maybe they have been recruited from different places, but the main bulk of this group, including their leaders of M23, came from Uganda. They did not come from Rwanda. This is a basic fact you should all be knowing. Then ask yourselves, so how did it become Rwanda's problem? So why doesn't DRC address the problems of their own people? Why do they have to put the weight of that on our shoulders? Why don't they take away these 100,000 plus refugees here? Take them back home. Now, to show you the connection in these other countries, for all the time this problem has been there. Some of these refugees, these countries, United States, Canada, Scandinavian countries, other countries, they've been coming here and selecting people from these camps that they will go and relocate in their countries. They've been doing it over a long time, but they have not taken many people. Out of 130,000 we have here, they have maybe between, among these countries, they have maybe located for settlement in the areas about, can't be more than 11,000. Over 20 years. So do these people come and take these refugees? Or these people, knowing that they are taking Rwandese or they are taking Congolese? They definitely know they are taking Congolese. So how about those who are staying here and have not found a home anywhere in these areas? What happens to them? And they are coming every day, every time. This fighting going on. So then they quickly find a solution in saying, let's blame Rwanda for everything. And they make statement. Rwanda backed M23. is doing this, is doing Rwanda every day. Rwanda must remove their forces. Right? So I asked another time when we were having a conference like this, if anybody thinks Rwanda is in DRC, why should Rwanda be in DRC? They should ask themselves that question. If you want to blame Rwanda for being in DRC, can you also make an effort and try to reason and say, okay, yeah, it's true, Rwanda is in DRC. Rwandan forces are in DRC. But why? Why should they be in DRC? So that's why they quickly find an answer and say, they are there to steal minerals. Okay, suppose that is also true, if you think that is true. What happened to Fdlr? Or what happened to what produced in their hundreds of thousands? What happened? Why? Was it because RDF was stealing minerals in Congo? That's why these refugees came here? Is it? So what is the Fdlr? Fdlr is nowhere. You don't remember 2019, and later on, afterwards, 21 and so on, when there were 2019 in November, I remember there was an incursion through Virunga Mountains, invaded our country, areas of Kinigi and Busanzi. These were Fdlr. Afterwards, the bombardment that came from DRC onto our territory. There we held the Commonwealth Conference. This problem can be addressed, but it cannot be addressed by just having processes where the only thing, in fact, it's really sad. We have processes and we have leaders leading these processes. And what becomes more important is the appearance, the camera appearance. It's being seen there to be signing something, and that becomes an end in itself. You leave the problem intact, you don't address it. Oh, but you didn't go to Luanda. Okay, how about the time I went there? What happened? Because there are times I have been busy. In fact, I'm up to the point I got tired of going. We have meetings in Nairobi, I was always present. We have meetings in Rwanda, I was always present. Wherever there were meetings to discuss how to end this problem, Rwanda was present. But in the end, even now as we speak, the importance is not ending the problem, the importance is in the process. It's in the appearance to be photographed and you say you were in Rwanda. So if you're not there, but I have discovered that being there and not being there amounts to the same thing. It doesn't address the problem. So we have to find a way of addressing the problems. Not processes becoming an end in themselves. Not the leaders of those processes holding people's hands and doing this, being an enemy itself. We have to have results built on addressing the root causes. And then another time they say, oh, Rwanda, you see, you have influence on young 23. By the way, influence just because some of those guys will speak the same language. So that becomes an influence. Okay, but let's assume you have an influence. And I have been asking these people, what do you want me to carry these people? Do you really want me? What do you want me? Give me a message to take to these people over whom I have influence. And as I see, they stop fighting. Okay, that's what I can do. But what follows that next? Because if I tell them to stop fighting, and they are attacked and killed, who takes the blame? It's not you who said to me to tell them, it's actually me. Meaning I lure the people into, but then in all conscience, they also want me to go and tell people that you should accept being denied your rights and keep quiet, because some people, some powers are not happy. And maybe that's why they want me to take these people. I can't. Never. It happened when we met, you must have seen it, when I met President Tshisekedi in New York around General Assembly. And we had with us President in France, President Macron. At that time they were telling me, these people message, they leave Bunagana. There's a place they had taken over called Bunagana, the border with Uganda. Otherwise, fighting will continue. He said, okay, I can't even transmit your message. Just out of politeness. But if I tell them to leave Bunagana and get lost, first of all, where do they go? Secondly, are you going to follow that with addressing their problem they are fighting for? And there was no clear answer. But anyway, I came back, I sent a message, sent English people. I said, for the good of the peace process, maybe somebody is thinking of bringing peace. You leave Bunagana as a symbol that you want to have the peace process. Going on and resolve the problem. As they are about, they agreed with the message I sent to them, others they agreed with me. As they were preparing to leave, they were attacked. There was serious fighting. And then they called up these leaders who said, but you people, you lied to me. You told me I should transmit a message that these people should leave, and then that will help the process to resolve the problem. Then, little did I know, the intention was actually maybe to attack them when they thought it wasn't going to be the case. So from that time, things have been like that over and over and over and over and over again. Is the government forces attack? Most cases they are beaten back, and then there is a loud speaker everywhere announcing how M23 has been violating ceasefire. You attack, we fight. I push you back, and then I'm the one who violated the ceasefire. This has been at Warsaw every day. And even with these experts that you have in place, they cannot tell, but that shows it's not that they can't tell what is the truth. It's just that the truth is not what they want, it's not what they like. It's completely different. So, Rwanda, while we may be blamed for other people's problems, we are also happy to be blamed for our own problems or trying to defend ourselves, if that is what it means. We defend ourselves at any cost. There's no question about it. I've told those who are behind on this in a very clear language. They keep asking me the same questions, I keep giving them the same answers. If there is anything that I can compromise on, it has nothing to do with ceding even a millimeter in terms of preserving the security of our country. Absolutely. So, my friend who asked the question, the answers are obvious, they are known. But in their heads, it's other people have their own other way of looking at things. They don't care about us, they don't care about anybody, they care about themselves. If you want to allow yourself to open up, to be crushed, you will get crushed, and that's not their business. They really facilitate that. So, let me end up with a long story here. But it is an accumulation of, I have been saying for a long time. So I thought I needed to go back into a little bit on the history of the problem. But the facts are clear. It's only those who don't want the facts that have other ways of looking at things. All right. Maybe that answers all the questions you had in mind. We can open up for more questions.
Your Excellency, before we take more questions from the room, we received a question from a journalist called
Structure or the form or whatever you have in place. That is the problem. It is the people. It's the leaders. It's the people working in those structures and therefore subsequently the countries they come from that are a problem. So how do structures in themselves become a problem? So even if you created another structure, but you have the same people thinking the same way, what are you likely to get out of that? I think Charles must be aware of that. I don't know what really needs to be done. It was the responsibility by the leaders of our continent to work with others to suggest the reforms that can be made on our continent. I was happy to lead that process. And by the way, I also reached the point that after I had more or less completed the main part of what I was supposed to do, I thought we needed maybe to find another person. Because when I was seeing some, you can hear this. We sit in meetings, leaders, I'm talking leaders, presidents, prime minister. We agree something in a room like this. suggestions that have come from us. We agree. We put something in place. And then, in the end, nothing works. Do you think it's a problem of the process? It's a problem of the structure? What is the problem? I think the answer is obvious. The problem is us. So in fact, when I even wanted to test that, it was when it was just going back and forth like this and that. Like there's something, we don't do it, or we do it halfway, and so that is how I decided. And I told the leaders in the room that, you know what, I've been very happy to serve you, but I think it has come to the time we try somebody else. Maybe before you get tired of me, or before I get too frustrated myself, but to serve the cause of reform, I think we can, here in this room, choose somebody else to lead the process. So that we try different people, different angles of dealing with the matter, and that's how the process went to a different person, the president of Kenya, President Ruto. In fact, in the meeting, they even asked me who I think would be. So I gave them my proposition. All was trying to make a point to me that, I was trying to make a point to these people that we have a problem we need to address. And it's not going to be one person here or one structure there. Collectively we have a problem because we cannot adhere to even things we have suggested ourselves and agreed and put in place and make them work to serve us well. So suggesting to dismantle this and create this and that, I don't think gives us any solution. The problem is in us. We needed to, if we want things to work, we needed to adhere to what we have agreed, that we think is important for our continent, for our people, and so we just have to keep trying with what we have in place. Yes, if there is a need to change something, sure you can do that, but you still remain with the problem with not doing what you have agreed, irrespective of whatever changes, other changes you put in place. All right? Yeah. So I don't see that. We need to find somewhere, I don't know whether, some magic. Whether we need to be saved, we need to, somehow we have to find some cleansing process where we renew ourselves and we, I don't know, we have to find something. Otherwise, we are not serving ourselves well.
We'll now come back to the room and take more questions.
Yeah.
Arefi, and then we can come to all of them.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Your Excellency. My name is Lucy Liu, and I'm the journalist for Radio France International. After the postponement of the Head of State Summit in Rwanda in December, what is the current state of the Rwanda talks? And how does Rwanda perceive the continuation of the negotiation? Thank you.
The last part, sorry.
How does Rwanda perceive the continuation of the negotiations in the Rwanda talks?
Yeah. For that one, I try to give it a short answer. Much as it lies in the explanations I was giving. There has to continue an effort to find a solution. If I start backward, there has to be an effort to continue finding a solution to this problem. But it can't be business as usual. It can't continue the way we have been doing it, putting the importance of the process above the results. I think what you're looking for are the results, not the process. You need a process to make it happen. And the process, therefore, you need to do what is right. So on that note, really the effort has to keep in place, and you have to keep asking yourselves the right questions and finding the right answers. The Fdlr question has to be answered. There is no dodging about that and circling around the problem endlessly. You have to find a solution. Tied with that, the internal problems of DRC, of persecuting their own people and making it a problem by giving us refugees and by giving us all sorts of names that we are supporting those people fighting for their rights in the DRC, has to find a solution. And the solution lies in internal political process or dialogue that the government can, on one hand, they say they want to talk to this, and then they say, no, we'll never talk to them, they are terrorists, and then, so you even don't get to understand what is it that you are dealing with. You say, no, we won't talk to them, but we shall mandate somebody else to talk to them for us. I don't know what that leads to. I can't be blamed for it clearly. Do you want a solution or you don't want a solution? See, with that. If you want a solution, then the character of the process and the quality of it explains it. People can see what you are doing and you understand that you actually want a solution. So the meeting did not happen because, again, it wasn't the appearance there that was the most important thing. It was what was taking us there and how it is being addressed. That was more important. And before the summit was to take place, there had been technical people meeting, discussing, and ministers meeting, DRC, Luanda, and Angola. The technical people would agree things, and then it comes to ministers, what the technical people agreed. Half of it is rejected. And when I'm saying this, mark you and check. To really be rejected by DRC, not Rwanda. Even if earlier it was endorsed by technical people from DRC and agreed with our people and the Angolans, it comes to a meeting of ministers. The minister says, no, this one can't happen. So they go on for a long time. Ministers' meeting comes and they meet, they discuss, and when they are getting close to something. The minister of DRC steps out, takes a phone call, makes a call, and comes back and says, no, I don't want this. I said, but this thing you don't want is what leads us to finding a solution. And he says, no way, I don't want. So that's, in the end, they disagreed until maybe 3 o'clock in the morning or something. And, but still then there was insistence, no, we must go there and sign something. Not even to have another discussion, because I don't think there was even need for that to happen. So that's what killed the summit. So it's not Rwanda that killed the summit. It's actually the DRC. And they were saying it, by the way, for those who want to hear. If you don't want to hear, that's another matter. But when statements are coming from head of state and foreign and ministers, and they are saying, no, they will never do this, and yet that is what is being asked to be done, even logically, and sometimes in agreement with the mediator, and he says, no way. First of all, these are terrorists, I never speak to them. Meaning, he's not prepared to find a political solution to the internal problems, but is willing to continue blaming them on Rwanda. And then he's dodgy about Fdlr. One time he says they don't exist, but they are not there. Another time they say, yeah, they are there, but they are few. Then another time he says, no, but this is just an excuse. They are there, but it is an excuse. They want to steal our minerals. It becomes childish stuff. You can't even know what you are dealing with. So I had agreed to go all the way until last minute, and because I didn't see what was taking me there, honestly. So, but the other question I started with, or you asked, and I started answering was, there has to be a way of finding a solution. You can't just live with it and give up, but there are going to be these ups and downs in finding a solution.
Thank you, sir. We will now go to
Thank you, Mr. President. Leif Mushtaq from Al Jazeera Digital. Mr. President, in a few days there is a new administration will take office in United States. Do you expect a change in how Washington deals with the situation in Eastern Congo? Thank you.
Well, first of all, I respect the change that has taken place in the United States, because for it to happen, it must have been for very good reasons that the Americans endorsed in their vote. So I'm happy with what there is, and I've got to deal with it the way it is. And building on that, I think so many things have changed and will change. First of all, the administration changed through a democratic process. There are many things, even geopolitically, at least the approach, that are going to change, for sure. And I guess, and I think so, that it will be the same to the approach of how African matters may be dealt with, generally, And also, specifically in Eastern Congo, the same might see change happen. That's what I think from a distance and just waiting for what will unfold. But I think there is bound to be change, not just one place, but many changes in many places at the same time. Because it's not only that things have changed in the United States. I can still see many things changing across the world. In fact, at a terrific speed, that we have to work hard to take care of ourselves, given the whirlwind of change sweeping across the world.
Thank you, Sam. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Jose, your